You ever think to yourself, I could have said that slightly differently. I forgot this very important point. I'm going to add the things that I should have said or things I could have worded just a little bit differently to make things a little bit clearer.
We're going to start this hour off talking to our old friend J.O., who has written the book Maximize Your Medicare and is about to have another one come out, among other things. So we say good morning to Jay.
Good morning, Art. Just trying to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how you have enough time in your life to do what you do, but hey. So let's start with, I want to start where we started many, many moons ago with Maximize Your Medicare. What edition is that in now?
I want to call it the 9th edition. So it's the ebook is already out. The newest edition of the paperback, will be out in a week. April 19th is the date that it. Supply chain problems have hit also the paperback production industry as well.
So, this book, it changes. This is the 9th time now. Are there a lot of changes? I mean, do the laws and rules and regulations of Medicare change that much?
They do, Art. It's not only the price, meaning the premium, etc., but really, if we look back when we first started to talk, actually the book's conclusions are actually quite different. So meaning, for example, when we first met, Medicare Advantage was nowhere near the market share it is today. So Art and I never have a script. The reality is that he would reject my ideas even if I gave them to him. I left out something big, which is that since the first time that I wrote Maximize Your Medicare, the number one demographic change is that people are working beyond 65, and at the same time, the full retirement age for Social Security is no longer 65. What this has done is totally changed the timeline, the timing of applying for Medicare. It's made it much more complicated because of the way that people have had employer-sponsored plans, whether you be a small employer, large employer. Oh yeah, by the way, we've had a pandemic. We've got unemployment. Anytime any one of these switches flips from off to on, something changes in the Medicare decision-making process. That entire dynamic is much more complicated than it was 10 years ago. Crazy thing is, this probably changed the entire course of the entire conversation.
Right.
There's a lot of reasons for that. We're not going to resolve all of those today. But then as a result, you see all of the publications, advertisements have, continued unabated. And I wouldn't expect that to stop. But there's been good reason, meaning that Medicare Advantage has improved notably. Again, for a lot of moving parts involved, but that is certainly the case. I don't expect that to change anytime soon.
And it was, when Medicare Advantage first came out, it was primarily an HMO, wasn't it?
No, that's exactly right. And I think that, one of the key takeaways to all of the messaging around Medicare that I would have for all of your listeners, viewers, is that every detail is subject to change every year. It is an annually changing contract, but that as a result of the intense competition and the improved funding into Medicare Advantage have combined to really help consumers, especially those who have financial stress, distress, worries about retirement, etc. And as a result, Medicare Advantage has certainly filled a hole for those persons who want to have healthcare services, know that it's very important, yet also want to balance that with their financial needs.
So I'm curious about Advantage plans. Let's say you're someone, well, like me, I've got Medicare A and B and D, the prescription plan. And then I have Plan F supplement. So pretty much I'm covered.
You are.
Is there an Advantage plan which does exactly the same thing? It covers all deductibles, provides everything that I have with the alphabet soup that I have?
Not precisely, Art. And so there are certain, these differences that I've written this crazy book about is really about just making sure that people have their eyes wide open. I've devoted a lot of time and effort in trying to explain these differences between Medicare Advantage and MEDIGAP. There's no doubt about it. Over the past decade, Medicare Advantage has improved a lot. Market share has improved a lot. Because of the intense competition, consumers have benefited. There's no doubt about that. Premiums are lower. In most locations, you can find a Medicare Advantage plan that costs $0 a month. In addition to that, networks are notably better, which is you've described MEDIGAP, Medicare Supplement, Medicare Supplemental, three terms that mean the same. Those differences between that and the entire group of Medicare Advantage plans cannot be changed, which is your plan. Nobody can eject you. The only person that can cancel is Art, period, as long as you continue to pay premium. But the fact is that comes at a price. Yep. And for many people, that price is too high, and especially those persons who either have financial issues or, for example, who are bulletproof, Mr. or Miss Perfect, I call them. Right. In other words, they never go to the doc. They don't have a need to. And so what ends up happening is you can, if we just make up an example and call it $150 a month for MEDIGAP plus Part D, which is too low. I'm being conservative.
Yeah.
You're talking about $1,800, $2,000 a year. Well, Medicare Advantage now is $0 a month. Plus now, because of the intense competition, you can get PPO in addition. So now as a result, okay, I didn't say price insensitive, right? I mean, it's always about the money. We know that. Of course. Right. So now, so people can choose. And now, compared to when I first came out with Maximize Your Medicare, as it has evolved over time, we are seeing extra benefits, et cetera, which again are to the benefit of the consumer. That all said, you can't get away from the inherent differences that you and I have discussed over the years. Art correctly points out that in the past, Medicare Advantage had been thought of as HMO. However, today, in most locations, the PPO market is also very, very competitive. You need to remember that a PPO means that if the provider accepts the federal Medicare card, they'll accept your Medicare Advantage plan. You need to keep in mind things that I've stated in other videos. Be sure to check them out. The annual deductible, your copays, your coinsurance, your out-of-pocket maximum can be different if you use any out-of-network provider. So if a consumer wants to save the most amount of money and lower your out-of-pocket costs, the way to do that is stay within network providers. Say that if you need to go see Dr. Magic, don't go see him. I'm not here to give you medical advice regarding which doctor to go to and which doctor to avoid, that kind of thing. All I'm saying is you need to understand the impact that they would have on your out-of-pocket costs. I do need to say the following thing, which is that, sometimes I get told this is a scam or this is a trap. I see, hear, read these types of negative terms a lot. It's not a trap. It's not a scam. There are rules. There are regulation. The seller is subject to them. They have to follow them. It's also important for the buyer to understand the rules. It's important to know what the nuances are. A checkerboard looks like a chessboard. The pieces don't move the same. Why? The rules are different to what the pieces can do, how far they can move. What ends up happening? Something new, a new topic occurs, and they discard their common sense. I'm trying to make sure that people continue to use the common sense that they've used to survive up to this point anyway, and not to discard your common sense as you think through this, and not be distracted by all of the noise and these types of terms that may sound like something terrible like scam or trap, something like that. Just not the case.
And the book will be out when? Next week?
Just a week, right? April 19th, I think, is when Amazon.com tells me that it's going to be available. Ebook now.
Maximize Your Medicare, same title.
That is right. Maximize Your Medicare.
Okay. All right.
Hopefully you liked today's video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And don't forget the notification bell. That way you can be updated when a new video appears.